13 minutes past 7 o'clock. Well, convicted drug smuggler Schapelle Corby could be one step closer to being released on parole. Corby's been hoping to apply for parole, but legal hurdles have kept her behind bars. She's been in Kerobokan prison since her 2004 conviction for smuggling more than 4 kilograms of cannabis into Bali. The Indonesian president has now approved a regulation giving foreigners in jail and on parole legal status to stay in the country. So to explain the significance of this move, our Foreign Affairs editor Keith Suter, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mel.
Just explain clearly, so the regulations basically mean if she's released, she can stay in the country.
Yes, she's applied for a reduction in her sentence, which was then granted. So this was some time ago, which meant that having then had a reduced amount of her sentence, she was then eligible to apply for parole. She applied for parole, which meant that she would have to remain in Bali, but she wouldn't be in the prison, so she'd be with family and friends. So it looked as though she was going to be released in time for last Christmas. And then, just as they were about to start releasing her, they suddenly realised that she would have no migration status within the country, because they'd introduced this new law, completely separate from the Schapelle Corby matter. They've introduced a new law trying to regularise all the immigration issues within the country, a vast piece of legislation, but they forgot to deal with the issue of foreigners released from prison on parole. So about the end of about November, they then said, sorry, we can't release you for Christmas. So we've then had all this negotiation going on within Jakarta to try to regularise this situation. And then, as you've just said, the President has now signed into law this provision which will enable a foreign prisoner held in detention because of a sentence to be released on parole to remain within Indonesia. So that's the good news. You know, the tragedy is that every time she sort of moves forward, there seems to be another piece of the legal quagmire.
So now that that's sorted, does that mean she can reapply for parole?
Yep.
And what are the steps do you think now that her release into the Bali could be imminent?
Well, this is the problem now, because there's talk that she, first of all, needs to be able to prove that she's helping police to hunt down other drug smugglers, and also she's got to admit to the guilt. She's got to show remorse.
Oh, in order to get
parole. So here she is, she makes a bit of progress, and then suddenly there's a new legal obstacle. So she will be, theoretically, she could be spending up until 2017 out of jail on Bali with family and friends, not in the prison, but she's now got yet another hurdle which the prison authorities have just introduced for her. So every time she moves forward with a bit of progress, you then get a step back. So, and obviously it takes a toll on her health, because her spirits get lifted and then they get reduced again.
Gosh. Keith Suter, thank you very much for explaining all of that.